People are talking about Jimin and Song Dae-yoon together at a restaurant. People are talking about Jimin needing to carry going forward. And then we also have JK being rushed to the ER. Say Dumplings, it's Dave Disci. Let's get into it. People were very concerned because recently JK was announced to have been rushed to the ER after he was apparently losing a lot of weight. He was believed to have dropped down to about 149 pounds. So this was apparently about 15 to 18 pound loss, and that obviously is a huge amount of weight. And given the fact that this was after the military, meaning he was bulking and working out a lot and is still working out a lot, and the mass muscle actually should be a lot heavier than fat. So technically it seems like he might have lost even more weight now. If you don't count the muscles, who knows what the actual reason is behind this, and he didn't specifically get into a lot of that. But I would imagine it's things like insomnia, it's things like not eating right, it's things like adjusting to a new routine after doing the same thing for a year and a half. We can't even imagine the type of activities and things that he had to do in the military. And essentially what it is putting soldiers through trauma. I mean, that's a lot of how the military works. They have to do that because they have to see how well you're going to adapt in traumatic situations. But of course, that affects people mentally. And if he is dealing with things mentally, whether it's sleeping or eating and that sort of stuff, and it's not physical stuff that he's doing to himself, so he's not hitting himself. And so that's why he can't sleep, but it's stuff that's mentally causing him to have physical issues. So he should definitely go see a therapist, and I hope he gets that sort of stuff worked out. Some talked about how JK might have rushed to the ER, and he was not rushed to the ER, he was simply just at the ER. The emergency room in Korea is a very different thing than what we have here in the US. It's not something that you go to solely for the sake of emergencies, but if you need anything. I mean, people go if they have a cold. The healthcare system is a lot better than what we have here in the US, and you can go there for stuff like that, and it doesn't cost an arm and a leg. JK went to get an IV drip, which is something that's pretty standard and something that a lot of K-pop idols get. He, of course, got some vitamins and things that he was lacking. It's the best and the quickest way to get the vitamins that he would need as fast as possible so that he doesn't pass out or faint or any of those things. So this by no means was an immediate emergency situation, but could have been one eventually if he did not seek help. And a lot of people were very concerned about this, while a lot of other people were saying that JK knows what it takes to take care of himself and probably isn't one putting himself on purpose in these bad situations. But of course, even if those bad situations were to happen, he not only knows how to take care of himself, but he has the resources and the people around him who are going to make sure that nothing happens to him. You have to think about how ridiculous it is for us to sit here, watch him talk about this, and watch him go get the answers to help him get better, and still sit here and think how he needs help. People saying we need to help him. He got the help. If he's talking about it, then he probably is aware that it was not a great situation and he probably fixed the issue. There's nothing we can do at this point, and we definitely shouldn't intervene in that way at all. It's none of our business, really. There was a live stream apparently with V and Jimin, and they were talking about how they need to be a little bit more careful with personal information. So I think it was V that said, be careful in presenting sensitive information. So don't present it, and just be aware of what you're saying on a stream, because you never know who's listening, I guess. And Jimin replied saying, why be careful? Everyone knows this sensitive information already very well. First of all, we don't. And second of all, I don't want to. And second of all, and third of all, there are definitely people who wouldn't want something like this. They wouldn't actively go and try to find this information out. But if the information was presented to them on a live stream, they happen to be 5 blocks away from Jimin's supposed house in the future, they might think, why not peer in and take a look, right? At least that's what they might think. It's kind of a similar situation to how back in the early 2000s, celebrities' homes were listed as on a map as part of a bus tour, and the buses would take tourists around town in LA, and they would actually go near Brad Pitt's home. I always thought that that wasn't safe, and I always assumed that was their fake home. It wasn't, apparently, it was real, but this is not something that should be available for people to do in 2025. And to go to Jimin's house as part of a tourist attraction, that's not good. Some people were mentioning that a weapon should be allowed to be on Jimin at all times, saying that Jimin should carry. And while I don't think he would necessarily carry something like that, because I think that that would be very scary if fans saw that. And of course, there would be a lot of horrible things written about him if people saw that he was holding one of those things. But I do think that his bodyguard and anyone who's there to protect him probably does hold some of those things. And of course, anytime he goes anywhere, he brings his bodyguard with him, as if he does carry. I think we definitely live in a different time back then when celebrity homes were available on a tour bus, and you just had to pay X amount of dollars to essentially see the celebrity and know exactly where each celebrity lives. We're talking about a different time period where people were not as crazy as they are now and did not jump the fence and harass the celebrity. And I could be wrong, but I doubt if this was a common occurrence back then, they would have kept doing those celebrity home tours and they would be a part of the map or a part of the tour. I think they would have been taken away a long time before that. We now live in a time period where stuff like that does happen. And if the BTS members have anything leaked, like a phone number or an address, you'll probably have multiple people call or show up at one time. We have people showing up in places that even if it was provided publicly, I don't believe people should show up, such as hotels. The hotel lobby is not a public event and part of a schedule. And like, is it a similar situation where that information is being released, kind of like airport appearances? But there is no press there. And if there was press at the hotel, then it makes me think that it was a publicly released event or something. But the fact that paparazzi and even press aren't even there shows me that this is definitely not a public event. This was not something that was allowed to happen because there are paparazzi laws now and they just can't go and do things like that, right? So the fact that they're realizing this is against the law to show up and they're not showing up tells me that those who showed up at the hotel are actually breaking the law. And that's just my opinion, right? I don't know the exact laws around this or how people found out about the hotel thing, right? Might be through legal ways. So I definitely want to make that disclaimer. People were also talking about how Jimin and Song were apparently seen together eating at a restaurant. This was prior to Jimin having to go to Paris. So it was alleged that prior to Jimin going to Paris for several of his different activities, he had just had dinner with her, and this photo and video came out from an alleged fan who recorded this and was like sneakily trying to record this. We of course have to be careful with evidence like this nowadays because we have things like AI and we don't know how true a lot of this stuff actually is, which also may be a reason why this particular clip didn't go as viral as maybe I would have assumed it would have, judging by it. The clip shows what appears to be them both at a restaurant sitting across from each other, eating and chatting, as well as this being moments before the Paris event, with the caption saying that this was probably why Jimin was so happy prior to going to this event, because he had just had a date with Song. These rumors are interesting because I believe around the time that the two would have definitely not been in a relationship anymore, at least. In fact, by the time this became public, I believe the two had even previously had acknowledged that they had been in a relationship prior already, and they would not have been in a relationship at this point in time. I believe she was likely in a relationship at that point. Now, could the two actually sit down and catch up and just be friends? According to this alternative universe here, right? Let's just play devil's advocate, of course. But for the most part, I would imagine that Song's partner would be pretty uncomfortable with her going out and eating dinner alone with her ex. This is also very interesting because prior to allegedly HYBE giving a statement and prior to this becoming an even bigger thing, people were already speculating about this relationship several years ago. It was a rumor that existed many, many years ago, and they likely knew that this rumor exists. Like, both of them knew. So explain to me why they would risk being seen together in public, knowing that someone could take a picture at any time and it can go viral online, and it would be this huge thing. Celebrities used to worry about the press catching them doing something like this, but nowadays anyone can post something and it can go viral. So celebrities will try not to ever do anything that they're not supposed to. We also can't see the faces or any sort of visual tells that make us believe that this is indeed Jimin and Song. So we need to keep that in mind. A lot of the stuff that we are seeing or thinking is purely speculative, and that's really all that this is. The two have been rumored for a while, and of course it was believed a statement was given that they broke up. So I'm just going to go ahead and believe that they are definitely not together now. Like, even if you don't believe the statement is true, there has been no real evidence to show that they are together, even if both of them were spotted together in that viral elevator video. But still don't know if they are together or not. That video does not show them kissing. That video does not show them doing anything really other than just hanging out together. If that video is true, what does that mean? That means that they're friends, or that they know of each other, or that they hang out. And it literally does not imply dating at all, right? It's just going to take a lot to prove dating, because I'm going to need to see kissing. I'm going to need to see romanticized texts. I'm going to need to see more than just alleged matching bracelets or alleged cute clothes together. Let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure you check out Patreon. I'll leave a link at the top of the description. Thank you so much for this lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.